Bom dia, Charles Anthony D. Clark, your real estate investment broker, here with another bright idea. Welcome to Aspire Beast Council, where we do our weekly deal analysis. And yes, the music is new. That is from 4AR, making the beats for our opening. You will see that also on our Bright Idea videos. So I want to give a big shout out to 4AR for a reason. Um, Producer here in Milwaukee, not local by no means, national, international. So I want to give a big shout out to For a Reason for the new theme music for Aspire. Uh, Big things happening for us, big things. As I always like to, big shout out to Next Home My Way, the brokerage where I hang my license up. So if you are a agent, broker, or someone looking to get into real estate, please check out Next Home My Way. We help you build your brand, which is the most important thing, right? This is bigger than just um, getting. Let me take this off now. Just getting your license and helping build up a different brand, right? We help you build up your brand. We help you build up your business. Um, that's one of the things that I am so grateful for Next Home My Way. They allow me to use the studio here located at 5151 South Howell Avenue, where the social media studio, where you can do your podcast, do your videos, all the good stuff to help build your brand. So if you are a agent, if you are a broker, or if you're someone looking to get into real estate, please reach out to any one of our leadership, myself, Carlos, Jose, and Angel. Angel is the broker owner. Carlos is the broker manager, and Jose is the broker manager, and Carlos is also the broker manager in charge. So, uh, always want to give them a big shout out, and then raise the standard. My team under Next Home My Way. I always just want to bring up three mottos, three values that we run, raise the standard with, and that is, um, number one, raise the standard of living. If the deal doesn't make our clients' lives better, our lives better, and the community's life better, we don't want to be a part of it. Those things need to happen for any deal to make sense in our eyes. Um, Value comes at ensuring that we're doing deals that everyone is happy with. It's not the number, it's the value that we get from the deal. And that value is more than dollar signs. Two, be better by being better. Uh, Always trying to improve. Something that I gained when I was in high school, and I try to share with people. Coach always wanted me to just get five. I was always trying to get touchdowns, and it was always just improving, always trying to get better the next play. And that's what we try to do: be better by being better. And last but not least is, what's your legacy? And some people say that's, what is your big why? But what are you doing this for, right? There has to be something bigger than just getting a check or owning another property. There has to be something bigger that makes you want to get up and get out of bed and do this every day, day in and day out, building a real estate investment business. And that's the difference between what we do here at Raise the Standard and what other real estate teams do. We don't help people buy properties. We help them buy businesses. They just so happens to be properties. And that's part of what this ecosystem is built on, and why I co-created Aspire um, with my co-creator, co-CEO Devin. He's also a real estate broker. Excuse me. He handles more the commercial side. I would say more 1 to 20. I would say he goes from five to up. He's the Crazy Man, he's the one that wants 1,000 units. I don't want that many, but you got to have people like that around you that push you and want you to be better. And that's part of what Aspire was really all about. It was creating an atmosphere. It was creating a community where people come together to inspire people to do more, right? Execute. In one of my recent videos, um, I talk about execution. That doing a not perfect deal over waiting for the perfect deal. You're in a way better situation if you're not waiting for the perfect deal, right? You're going after um, what's in front of you, right? And you're making the most of deals. We're not saying going after bad deals. We're saying, maybe across 7 out of 10 of your things you need, and you can make the other three work, right? And so that's what Inspire wanted to be around. Beast Council would like to show you guys the um, some of the stuff that we're building on um, here. Uh, Let me bring it up. I got it. I got it. We got this going here. So this is going to be one of our landing pages. We will be releasing soon um, for all you to enjoy and to be a part of, and to continue helping us grow as an organization and as a um, I like to say movement. This is where you're going. Aspire Investing. It's about legacies aren't inherent; they're built. Um, it's about growing. Developing, and obviously joining. Um, you can join Aspire Investing, um, where this is where we have our school, where we have our classroom, where we have more of our intimate conversations with our members. So if you want to be a part of it, uh, obviously there's fees to everything, but um, down here, right here, 29.99 and 5,000 for VIP. And then we got some other things, and I'll go into later at the end, but wanted to expose you to that as well. So this week we actually are going to analyze a deal that is from our co-CEO, Devin, and would like to get into that. But first, I want to talk about interest rates. So interest rates have been acting a little funny, going according to the 10-year yield. So I wanted to just bring up how interest rates are um, affecting how some investors look at this. And when you're smaller, you could allow the interest rates to affect you as if you were being a retail buyer. And what I mean by that is, if the interest rate is at 6% and now something happens and it jumps up to, they say, 6.75, or let's say 7. If you were trying to buy your home, that would make a difference in your monthly payment. And because I say single family homes are a liability until three capital events happen, which is cash out refi, um, HELOC, or you sell it. Up to that point, it's a liability because you got to pay your mortgage, you got to pay electric bills, you got to pay all these things coming out of it, right? So up until that point where you do those things, it's a liability. And having your interest rate go from 6% to 7%, that means your monthly mortgage payment goes up, and that means more of it being a liability than it being an asset, right? A lot of new investors have that mentality going into investing, and that's the wrong mentality to have. And the reason why it's the wrong mentality to have is because your cost went up. Well, if your cost goes up, you just raise the value of what you're selling, right? So if interest rates were at 6% and now they're at 7%, and you were going to buy at 6, but now it's 7, yes, your mortgage payment is going up. However, you have a product you're selling. The cost of that product is going up, so therefore you need to raise the rents. Now, market always dictate everything. If you are at the height of your rent, obviously you can't raise it. Then my question is, why are you looking at that property anyway? Because if it's already at the highest, then that deal doesn't work anyway, right? So the analysis will already weed that out because of that situation. But what sometimes investors will do, and what I like to call hobbyists, is that they will say, "Oh, this is not a good time to buy because interest rates just went up." To me, when you're in real estate investing, you're in the business and you're looking for the best deal. Just because interest rates went up doesn't mean I shouldn't be buying. It just means the cost has gone up for me to buy something. So therefore, the value of the thing that I'm buying, that I am repackaging and reselling to the market, has to go up in value too, right? When sugar goes up, Coca-Cola costs more. Why? Because sugar is part of the ingredients that's in Coca-Cola, right? Lumber goes up. Well, if lumber goes up and Home Depot buys them, guess what they do? They charge the client more for lumber. Why? Because lumber went up. Same thing with real estate. And a lot of hobbyist investors don't do this. Water went up. Well, if water went up, electric went up, interest rate went up, why are you still charging the same rate? Because you have a good tenant. That makes you a hobbyist. And I've been going on a rampage talking about a lot of hobbyist investors out there and how they are affecting the market because of the decisions that they're making and then their expectations, right? The investor landlord who hasn't raised rents in 5 years, but now want to sell their property at top of market when their rents are 5 years behind. That's being a hobbyist, right? A hobbyist is someone who's saying, now I'm not going to buy because rents went up. So that's my spew about allowing interest rates or allowing costs to affect your decision, um, with making a decision in investing in real estate and either deciding to hold off or needing to move forward. So with interest rates rising, it just made me want to think of that and just wanted to bring that up, in the sense of, um, it's another formula or another ingredient you have to take in consideration in making your decision. And that is something where I can adjust because I can raise rents on the back end and part of what I'm doing. So that shouldn't necessarily stop me from investing in real estate that is going to generate me more income than the money that I'm spending out. Um, and again, this is one of the things that I just want to beat home is you're not necessarily buying the property, right? You're buying the future cash flow of that property. So the interest rates going up, if I'm able to raise rents and that future cash flow that I'm actually purchasing today is going to be better regardless, then why would I make that decision? Right. And so just trying to help create a mindset of looking at real estate in a different way than just looking at it from a, just, cash flow, um, you know, rates go up, right? I think a lot of people don't know about WACC, which is WACC, which is weighted average cost of capital, right? The money that you're getting, the cost of it varies. Like, so if I get money from the bank, they're going to charge a certain interest rate. Well, if I get private money, they're going to charge a certain interest rate, right? And then I want to return. So I'm charging a certain interest rate that I want to return back for the money that I'm getting, right? So with that being said, those are all different costs of capital, right? Because I got money from the bank, I got money from private lenders, and I put my time and energy and money into a deal, and there's a certain return I want. So all those are different sources of capital that are all asking for different returns, right? The bank is asking for 7%. This private lender, he's wanting 12. I'm wanting to list 15 back. So all those are different weighted averages of cost of capital that I need to bring to the table to purchase this asset that is going to pay everyone back what they're supposed to get, and then everyone's happy. Well, if I know how to manage that source of income to ensure that all those parties getting paid and they're all getting returned the capital, the return on their capital that they invested in the deal, why wouldn't I make that deal just because interest rates went up? Well, you know, the value that I want, right? I used to want 7 to 10, and now I want 10 to 12, right? Your interest rate went up. You're no different. So, like, trying to help individuals understand that from an investment standpoint is why we do Aspire Peace Council. So, with that being said, we're going to go over um, a deal that um, one of our Devin, our leader, I'm gonna bring it up for you. Just getting everything set up here. Uh, Boom. So 1011 is a 12 unit he's working on um, in Iowa. He's in the middle of this deal right now. Still in the process of securing all necessary capital, going through the process, right? So that's part of the reason why we want to do this. We wanted to show you active deals that we're going through, active deals that we're trying to close individually and as an organization and as a Aspire group coming together. So as I have resources, this is the RPR. So this is what we kind of went through. Um, but this is the property that he's going. So we're going to actually analyze it. And so I already kind of put the numbers in there. So I wanted to try to um, build this up. So um, it's a 12 unit multifamily property built in 1947. 11 one bedroom, one bath apartments, and then there's one studio. Um, Occupancy is stated at 100%. Current average is rented 683 per month. Tenants pay gas and electric, water, sewer. The says value is 716,000. Seller situation property stated under purchase and sale agreement. So again, has a sale agreement under this. Purchase price is 600,000. Requested acquisition that is 420. Sponsor investor equity is stated at 180. So seller situation, obviously, it's a um, seller owned by LLC, as we can see down here, right? So it's owned by a trust. So I apologize. It's held by a trust. So that's the seller situation. Um, then purchase price. Obviously, this is where it was negotiated. So we're already kind of past purchase assumption, purchase price, right? We already got it under. Um, and being able to bring 180,000 in debt, I mean, for equity, and then 420,000 in debt. Using the package 8% interest rate, 25-year amortization, year one NOI, 54,769 and 7% leverage. The council did theoretical rental MAO of approximately 616. So Based on what he has, the maximum acceptable offer was 616. So he's saving 16,000. So his deal is better than what the maximum acceptable offer was. 8% pre-reserve cash on cash return, because closing cost reserves and capital expenditures are excluded. The true conservative amount is below that amount. So they're saying it's probably below 616. Improvements, no major renovation budget is identified. The stated business plan is primarily a loss to lease capture strategy. Uh, Rehab estimated, initial capex unverified, contingency unverified. So that wasn't in there. So revenue, the lender package reports year one gross potential income of 144,000. Effective gross of income is 93,000. Operating expenses 38,327. Net operating income is 54,000. That produces a stated going in capitalization rate of 9.13 at the 600,000 purchase price. So he's getting a cap rate of 9.13, which is good. The package attributes most of the upside to substance loss to lease, 44,000 in year one, with average current rent of 683. Submitted projection increased net operating income 72,000 in year three, 86,000 in year five, and 99 in year seven. That upside may be real, but the council has not been given the detailed rent roll, signed leases, right? So again, our system, um, it gives you certain points, but if it doesn't give more confirmation, right? So we don't have confirmations about the improvement. We don't have confirmations about the rent roll. So we're taking everything with a grain of salt and what we can do with it. Um, so the exit strategy is a buy and hold, highest and best use. Burr, hold, refinance, potential viable, but refinance assumption require verification. A flip, not demonstrating, no support ARV. Wholesaling, not presently eligible because of where it is cost wise and creative home. Could be there, but we don't know. With it being a trust, that might be hard to do, right? So the best options is our one and two. Therefore, long term multifamily ownership with discipline rent normalization, refinance is treated as an optional later capital event rather than the premise on which the acquisition must survive. Right? They're basically saying if you needing to refinance is the sole reason why to do this, you know, um, that's not going in right. Like if that was your thought, because they don't have enough information of what it will jump to of where you'd be able to refinance. So off this premise is just saying managing the building better. All right. The package itself proposes a year seven refinance intended to return investor capital. That concept is economically plausible under the package NOI growth. With the statement, the sponsor would therefore retain unencumbered ownership is not reconciled with this of refinance debt. Um, okay, just we need to clarify what that means, right? So, purchase price 600,000, user provided, units 12, user provided, price unit 50,000, loan 420,000, initial equity 180,000, LTV 70%, year one 93, year one operating expenses 38, year one NOI is 54. That's a 9.13 cap rate, 38,000 annual debt service. That's a 1.4, which ours we normally want at least a 1.3, so it passes that. Cash flow before ownership reserve 15,000. Cash on cash before closing costs 8%. Cash on cash after 10%. Cash flow reserve 7.9. Uh, this is the maximum acceptable off ceiling 616. Flip not verified. Rehab not verified. Flip, we don't have that in there. Threshold is 1.15 DSCR and cash 8% cash flow, while DSCR below 1 point triggers the kill switch. The deal clears the DSCR standard, but the distribution year one return falls just under 8% once the sponsor stated 10% cash flow reserve is recognized. Um, so we have certain things to match. So again, this is what we're talking about. Maybe not be a perfect deal, but this might be a deal you still move forward with, right? It meets one of our criteria, doesn't meet the other, but that's in year one. We got to understand that we're going to own things beyond year one, right? So mandatory 10-year pro forma, and this is what we talk about of having this in our system and making sure that it's running the correct information. So I want to make sure that we have our 10-year return because we're not just looking at year one. And if numbers don't make sense in year one and we're just walking away from a deal, that doesn't make any sense, right? If you're walking away from the year that you're going to be putting in the most money and everything else and it doesn't clear, you're not looking at year 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and up to 7, which is typically year 5 to 7 is when most investors decide to move on from a deal, um, trade up or refinance for a second time at that point. So, as you can see right now, we're going to go through, years 2 and 4 are interpopulated assumptions. Years 8 through 10 uses 2% annual NOI growth assumed after year 7. Expenses after year 1 grow at 3% annual assumed. Estimated values is a constant 9.13% capitalization rate assumed. So the council is not relying on cap rate compression. Debt assumes the submitted 420,000 loan at 8% with 25-year amortization. So as you can see, the income is increasing every year. Expenses is increasing every year. NOI is increasing. The debt service is holding true. DSCR, as you can see, it's growing as the year is going on because we're making more money, you're paying off more. The cash flow is moving up. Uh, Cumulative cash flow, so they're combining it, right? As the years go on, that's when the real money is starting to be made, right? And then loan balance is getting paid down, but in here, as you can see, they were saying year 7 they were going to be probably refinancing. So there's probably going to be a change in this that the um, calculator didn't pick up. So a year 7 hypothetical 70% LTV refinance against the model um, would produce a loan of approximately 760,000 after paying the model existing balance of 370 gross rent. Proceeds would be approximately 390,000 before refinancing costs. So there you have it, right? See, it must have read my mind. So in year 7, based on what we have right now and the value and what he could do, he would be able to pay off the old loan and get all his back, but then he would get 390,000. So that means he would be able to repay, I believe, the 180,000 originally, and then now have on top of that 210,000 to distribute between the investors and himself for this deal. So that's those are the deals you want, right? Those are the deals you're looking for. So at year 10, sell at the model 1.13 value. 6% selling cost would generate approximately 7. So then if he sells it at year 10, so now think about it. At year 7, he got 300,000. Then 3 years later, at year 10, he got 700,000. Right? So he got $1 million total. Right? $1 million total in 3 years from one property. This is why we do these, right? This is why we get into this. This is the point of investing in real estate and is building generational wealth. But you got to put in the work, right? You got to run the numbers. You got to analyze the deals. You got to put the deals together, and you got to go after it, right? And so we have that here. So downside stress test, right? And again, this is why I love the calculator and why it goes through Aspire. It goes through all the nitty gritty to make sure you're hitting every point, to make sure that you're crossing all your I's and dotting all your T's, right? Um, 10-year lower fixed gross rate, 10-year higher operating expenses, stress becomes approximately 83,000. Operating expense rise to 42,000. NOI falls to approximately 41, producing a 1.07 cash flow, right? So A below, right, because of the stress test. So again, that might make it hurt. At a 10% cap rate, stress value is approximately 416, nearly equal to the projected year one loan balance of roughly 400,000. That result does not trip the 1.0x DSR kill switch, but it demonstrates that the acquisition has limit year one protection against. So again, it's stress testing and saying, hey, this doesn't trigger our right. This is for us. This is what we put on here. This doesn't trigger our kill switch, right? However, they still think it's a sand, and let's figure out why they think it's a sand. This term hold thesis is economically credible with a 9.13 going in cap rate and 1.4. Not yet provide enough verified margin for unconditional capital approval. So it's needing more information. So it's not saying it's not a good deal because of the merits of it. It's saying that it needs more information to verify. So it's telling it to get more information for it to verify. So it also is questioning the 10% cash flow reserve reduces initial distribution cash on cash return to approximately 7.93. So it's putting us below the council 8%. So again, this is based on our ruling. This is very close. So this can easily be 8%, right? So the principal upside depends on successful capture of large loss to lease while physical condition data, CapEx requirements, detailed rent support, and final financing terms remain unverified. So this is where it's saying it needs more information, right? So no kill switch is activated because the model rental exit remains profitable and DS remains above 1 point, even in the stated council downside test. Right? It's testing it because we're at 68. If we're at 70, it approves it. So it's saying 68. So this is where again, perfect example of not a perfect deal, but you need to move forward and get more information. So right, it's just basically saying we need to get more information before we approve this deal at this point. And that's why we run analysis deals. That's why we do it, right? We do it to get a picture of what we're trying to buy. As I said, we're not buying the actual property, we're buying the future cash flow of that property. And that is what we're trying to verify in this situation is that is the future cash flow worth the initial investment into this property, and it's right there. So I again saying the calculator is doing its job. So now it's doing the redirective. It's saying, hey, is there other options? Can we purchase a little bit less? Can we get a different interest rate? Um, can we get something at this interest rate? Right? Then the deal goes much higher, right? So that's again why what Aspire does, what the calculator does, we keep giving you things to improve on, right? Be better by being better. How can we make this deal better and make it something worth we can move forward with, right? Minimal initial excess cash yield. Um, Verify right to approve, verify rent roll support, physical condition, capex, right? He just went to the property, so now this is something I can talk to him of. Okay, you went to the property. What condition you fill it in? Have you were able to get the rent roll? And then that's information I can put in there to verify this even more. The calculator is doing exactly what it's supposed to do, right? And now it's saying this is what we think you should try to go at based on the information we have is 560. Obviously, they got the deal on 600. So, based off any other information that we can get, can improve this number. Initially, like I said, maximum acceptable offer was 616. Right now that we have some more information, that can change up or down. Like if we get the interest rate a little bit lower, well, then that can say we can, spend a little bit more. If the properties are in better shape, and then we can immediately raise rent. Well, what can we raise rent to? I didn't put that information in there. Just wanting to go off of what information someone gives me now, I can put it into the calculator. It gives me information, and then I know what next steps I need to do to start analyzing this deal fully. Oh, well, there you have it. Ran a deal that our Aspire group is currently working on, a 12 unit in Iowa. Um, doing big things, guys, big things. Again, Aspire. It's here to help you learn how to analyze deals. A is for asset address. What are you analyzing? What is it? Is it a duplex, 4 unit? What is it? And then you have to have some framework of what you think. Is this a burr? Is it a value add? Is it a fix and flip? Kind of have a premise, right? As seller situation. What is the seller? Is it on market already? Is it a wholesale? Is it distressed? Is it an LLC? Is it a single investor? Is it a couple who are investing? Is it the bank? Is it the city? Someone selling it and why, right? That helps with the negotiation. P is purchase price, purchase assumption. What do the seller want, and what do you think so far what it should be worth, right? Um, and then I is for improvement, right? Investment or improvement. What do we have to add in? For me, always I is because we predominantly look at deals that are value add. The buy and hold is not unnecessarily um, our framework. And what I mean our, I mean me. Because what I go after, what I'm looking for is deals that I can force appreciate so I can refinance or redeploy the capital. Um, so I is always going to be a part of it. It can be zero, like in this situation right now, it's zero. We don't know what we need to add to this property. So investments were zero. R is revenue, so that could be your profit from the sale, or it could be your cash flow from the monthly rental income, from short-term rentals to Airbnb to just regular collecting rent. And then E is for your exit strategy. It is what are you doing, right? Even people say I'm never selling. You will no longer be here one day. So what are we doing? So how are we transitioning this property? What are we doing with this property? You got to have a business plan for every property you have because every property you have is a business, right? So how's we exiting out of this? Every owner needs an exit strategy out of their business. Well, every property you buy is an individual business. You need an exit strategy. What are we doing with this, right? And I was talking to someone today. I was kind of help consulting, teaching on is the E is important because people ask, well, what should I do? When should I sell? When should I refinance? Well, your exit strategy should tell you what you should be doing, right? Because if you're in the situation we have, if they're saying in year 10 is going to be 1.1, in year 6 is 1.1, I'm selling. I'm 4 years ahead. Why wouldn't I sell that property if I said in year 10 it's supposed to be 1.1? And now in year 6 it's 1.1. I'm selling because it's 4 years ahead. It's letting me know that I'm at a peak that I didn't think I would be at, and now I'm there, and I'm 4 years ahead. I would take that off the table and go use it because again, what is equity? Like obviously, these situations are a little bit different because I'm getting cash flow from it plus equity. But if the equity jump that's so high, I have to take something off the table, and that's where you do it. So again, this is what this system has helped to build so that you can build a real estate investment business. You need to have a system. You need to have things in place so that you know how to analyze the deal, go from analyzing the deal to refinancing and selling it. Right? All this is doing that, right? The Aspire tells you your basically your business plan for this property as you go into it. And that's what we kind of build, and that's the systems that we create. And that's what we want to provide to everyone. And just to, before we head up, just to go over um, what we all offer here at Aspire. Um, you know, we help with analyzing deals, right? So that's part of what we do. Um, Everything is built on four engines. Our ecosystem, right? And that's the one thing that we wanted to do at Aspire is build an ecosystem for investors. As me being a real estate broker and as Devin being a real estate broker, um, me having half of my clients from out of state, I wanted to create an ecosystem, and because I'm an investor myself, I wanted to create an ecosystem myself, that I knew was important to have to build a real estate investment business, because I knew I wasn't just buying properties. We're not buying properties, right? We're not just buying a duplex. It's not just a duplex. It's not just a single family. It's not just a 4 unit. It's a business that we're trying to run. And our ecosystem is built off of four engines. And as I said, the brokerage, the transactions, we want to help people buy, right? We want to help people build their real estate investment business as we build our own. And so the brokerage is, the process of why we're in the middle of all these things, right? And how we understanding, sourcing of deals, underwriting, and closing with discipline. Two is wealth engine, right? This is where I feel the wealth is built, and that's why I said I look at deals where it's about um, building force appreciation into properties so that we can refinance and redeploy the capital, right? We're wanting to create basically capital out of thin air, right? And fix and flip and new construction is how we feel like we're doing. We're creating supply. We feel creating supply is the most important thing you can do in an economy, and building wealth. And so fix and flip is taking a property that either wasn't in good shape that is now in good shape, so that someone can now live in it. A BRRRR value add, something that was only asking for so much, but now improving it is asking for more. It's creating more value, it's creating more supply. Um, and then new construction, something that wasn't there and now is there, right? Something that was land and now is a duplex. What, that's two new houses in a market that didn't have that. So the supply went up. That's building wealth. Educational ecosystem, as we show school, we think is important. As we tell you to, execute. You have to understand what you're executing. You got to understand what you're doing, and having education, having systems, having um, you can learn, build framework, build tools, actually help with real deals, getting the reps. You need the ecosystem, right? You need the education. You need things in place so that you can um, better educate yourself on what you're doing. And the mentorship mandate, right? It's partner development. You can't do this alone. Um, Real estate is not a solo sport; it's a team sport. And as you are realizing the deals that you're putting together, you realize that you need a partnership, you need a team, and you can't do this by yourself. And the sooner that you recognize that you need to build a team, the sooner you grow. The exit determines the value, not the purchase, right? That's we build that off of it, on that stuff. And lastly, we try to help, right? So the Aspire report, just kind of what I did. We go into a little bit more detail. We go through the fuel analysis. We provide you value. We give you AVM. We give you a CMA. We give you a rental meter report. We give you a 5, 10, 30-year performa, all 5 exit strategies, plus verdict, investment summary email. And then if you sign up for our monthly reports, so Scout gives you 4 reports a month, Builder gives you 10, Architect gives you 30. Um, we give you a turnaround with that when you give us the properties. But when you sign up for this, you and school is always included. We also just do individual reports. So if you just want a one report, just see how it is. That we charge 50. We give you a 10 pack that's 300. A 20 pack is 500. And then if you need some actual private one-on-one sessions, 300. We also do the investor execution cohort. That's our 90-day program. We can put you through it if it's one-on-one, hands-on. Um, we charge 2,500, 850, 3 months. We also teach agents how to do this and how agents can become their own investors and also work with investors themselves. We send them through this program as well. And then, as we said before, the standard for Aspire Council on School, where we have our community, $29 a month, $100 a month for the premium, and 5,000 for VIP. There you have it, man. We're Aspire. We're out here trying to make it better, trying to improve, trying to help investors. Um, as always, we don't help you buy a property. We help you build a real estate investment business. Um, we're Aspire. We're here to help you grow and help you aspire to become the investor you want to be. We don't help build. Um, we don't inherit. We help build legacies. I am Charles Clark, your real estate investment broker, here with another